Hello everyone. Today, Friday, Erev Shabbos, Parshat Emor. Hope everyone is doing well. Before I begin the Dvar Torah, I want to thank our sponsor for this week's video, Dvar Torah, Naomi Kinjo. Thank you very much, Naomi, and we appreciate the sponsorship very much and the support of the show. We're now in the middle, a little bit past halfway of Sfiras HaOmer, the counting of the days between Pesach and Shavuos. And the mitzvah, the source of the mitzvah, appears in this week's Parsha, Parshas Emor. Two psukim formulate this mitzvah for us. Usfartim lachem, you will count, you shall count, Sheva Shabbosos Timimos, 7 complete weeks. 7 times 7, that would be 49 days. Ad mimacharas haShabbos hashvis tisperu chamishim yom. You shall count 50 days. Of course, to resolve this contradiction of 7 weeks or 50 days, we understand that it means count 49 days to the 50th, and then Shavuos is celebrated on the 50th day. However, the Gemara Maseches Menachos does learn out from these two psukim that there are indeed two different obligations or two different aspects of the mitzvah of Sfiras HaOmer. There is both a mitzvah lemimni yomi. There's a mitzvah to count days, tisperu chamishim yom, and mitzvah lemimni shavui. There is a mitzvah to count weeks, sheva shabbosos, 7 weeks shall you count. And these are two different obligations, somewhat separable, and this is what in fact we do. We count days and weeks. From day 7 and on, we start counting. For example, today is the 29th day of the Omer, which is 4 weeks and 1 additional day for a total of 29 days. We count days and weeks. But again, these are really separate obligations. And the mitzvah, the requirement to count weeks, is to count after each week to mark that week. So that obligation really is only on the multiple of 7 days. After 7 days, we would count, we have done 1 week. After 14 days, we say 2 weeks. After 21 days, 3 weeks. And there really is no requirement to mention the weeks in between those periods, intervals of 7 days. We do so, we mention weeks every day of our count just to have a uniform formula. But really the requirement to mention the weeks is only after every 7 days. So we have two aspects to the counting. We count each day, 49 days. And we are to count 7 times after the completion of each of the 7 weeks. There's an opinion in the Gemara that today, since the counting is only rabbinic, we only need to count days, not the weeks. Days alone. We don't accept that opinion, but that is an opinion. Rav Soloveitchik's great-grandfather, his namesake Rav Yosef Dov Soloveitchik, had a chiddush. He wanted to suggest that even though the halacha is that if someone forgets to count 1 day, they are missing that piece of the mitzvah, and thus they can no longer count with a bracha. But he said if a person misses a day not on an interval of 7, let's say you miss day 5. So that's it, you missed day 5, you missed that piece of the day counting. But you have not yet missed a piece of the weekly counting after each 7 days, so maybe you could still count with a bracha on the days of complete weeks, 7, 14, 21. And it is debated if we accept that suggestion la halacha. But the point is, again, that there are two separate obligations. There are two ways that we are counting, and to some degree we can separate them. And so the question is, yes, indeed, it is clear that the Torah views these days between Pesach to Shavuos as important days, days that we should be conscious of, that we should be marking off the time in an intentional manner, that we are to count them. But why are we obligated to count in these two ways? Why is the mitzvah to count both days and weeks? So perhaps we can suggest the following. There is a difference between the counting of days and weeks. Days we count when we're presently in that day. Really, the halacha is that we should try to count at the beginning of the day, which is at nightfall. As soon as nightfall comes, the sooner we count, the better. When we count days, we are counting each day in the present. We are really counting the day that we are entering, the day that lies before us, the day in which we are presently engaged. Weeks, though, are different. When do we count the weeks again? At the conclusion of the week, after 7 days have passed, after another 7 at 14 days. At the end of each week, we count the week and declare we are coming to the end of 1 week. We have completed 1 week. We are looking back in time. We're not looking at the week before us. We are looking at the week that has passed. And as opposed to counting days, obviously, we are looking at a longer period of time with a longer frame of reference. And so perhaps what the Torah seems to be saying is that this time between Pesach and Shavuos, we want you to be thinking about the value of this time, the value of these days and these weeks, and in 2 ways. One, count the days. Each day, think about today, the present moment, really the day that lies before me. What can I do? What do I want to do to cherish and value each day as a blessing that I'm now ready to use and enjoy? And also, though, that is one way to think about time and to value time and to count time, but there's another way. And the Torah also wants us, not as frequently, only once a week, but after 7 days, to take a moment and to reflect backwards, to think about the week that has passed, to think about where I was and where I am now, where I have traveled, what I have accomplished, and to try to think of our time, our actions, our lives with a bit of a longer perspective, the perspective of the week, not of the present, but of that duration of time. Due to the coronavirus, for many people, our days seem to be blurring together. You don't know what day of the week it is. Every day seems to be the same. I saw an article that based on people's work habits and internet and entertainment habits, the difference between weekend and weekday are starting to blur. Everything is kind of the same. And it's easy just to have the days roll by, again, one into another. You're not even sure what day it is. But the Torah clearly viewed this time between Pesach and Shavuos as an important time, and as a time to, again, be conscious of our days, of how time passes and how we use time. And all the more so now when we can lose track of time. And so hopefully we will apply these lessons to our lives, to count days and to count weeks. To count days, again, means to value the present. When the day begins, to hopefully view it in a positive way, and think of what I want to accomplish, what I want to do, what I can do today. Whatever you're doing, to try to be in the moment, to whether it's enjoying time with family or engage in a productive task, whether it be work or anything else, and to try to just focus in the moment, maybe even forget everything that's going on in the world, and just enjoy, be productive, make it meaningful. But also, we do need to count weeks, and every so often, look back and reflect and think about, with a longer perspective, where have we been, where are we now, where are we going, and hopefully we will be strengthened by the realization that we have accomplished a lot, whether in specific tasks or as growing as people, and we have grown and we are moving, and perhaps we will come to a greater clarity and understanding of where we want to go, what we want to do, what we want to accomplish. And so we have a little bit less than 3 weeks till Shavuos. We hope that the time remaining will be for all of us a period of both good days and good weeks. We should have many wonderful moments and days when we are enjoying what we are doing, when we are being productive, when we forget about whatever bad news we are reading on the news, unfortunately. And hopefully, though, there will also be good weeks. We will string together many good days, and we will be building day upon day, and we'll be able to look back and think, wow, yes, I did it. I accomplished this. I've grown. I am moving. And hopefully we'll have a sense that we are moving into the future in such a positive direction. And so we hope that, speaking of good days and good weeks, that the Shabbos that we will be beginning soon will be a good Shabbos for you, for all of us, for our families. And I hope all of you are doing well. And I wish everyone good Shabbos and Shabbat Shalom.